365 Radio. Are you a Sikkim 365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Yeah, I told everybody it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was up northeast of Dallas, and I was going to be a part of the Black Knights jumping out of an airplane with a parachute.
And you checking out?
No, I did not. Mother Nature.
It was cloudy. I mean,
you have to have 7,500 feet, I think, to be able to jump out of an airplane, and it was like at 5,800. Eventually, later that afternoon, maybe an hour or so later, maybe I did chicken out. They cleared and they started jumping. But I was so ready to do that, and
not for all the tea in China for me. Honestly, I could not do it.
Well, let me tell you something.
Mostly just for the person who'd be strapped to me and hearing a grown man cry 30,000 feet all the way down.
Alfredo Ferreira, who is a part of the marketing, a part of what happens with the U.S. Army, and, of course, Dominique Williams, an amazing woman who's a part of the U.S. Waco Recruiting Company, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, what she does. We have right now Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary. He's a McGregor native, went to McGregor High School, and he's here to kind of give us an idea about right now being a part of the U.S. Army and the incentives, the benefits, but also to tell his story. And, man, it's great to have you in the studio. What do you think of our place, by the way, first of all?
I'm going to tell you, this is awesome. This is fantastic. So thank you guys so much for having me.
Yeah, it's glad for you. Happy for you to be here as well. So how did you what was it with you getting into the United States Army?
Well, I would say that, like you said, I was a graduate of McGregor in 2012, and I was actually working at the Brookshire Brothers over there. I was sacking and stocking groceries and whatnot, and I wanted to do more. I wanted to get out and get away because, I kind of felt trapped, And whenever you're a senior, your life is coming at you at 100 miles an hour. You're just trying to figure out whatever it is that you can do. And I met a recruiter. He asked me if I wanted to take the ASVAB. I said, sure, why not? And I scored really well on it. And he started talking about the job opportunities that were available. He was hitting me with the power stats. We got 150 jobs available, the 50-plus medical jobs and things like that. And the medical portion caught my ear. And I was like, yeah, what do you got for medical stuff? And he started explaining to me my current job, which is a laboratory technician, explaining it to me in the best way that he could. I started doing some research, and I realized, that was the one for me. And let me tell you, it's been a wild ride. I've been in for 8 years. I've been to 15 countries. We were able to do a lot of COVID response stuff while I was stationed in Europe. So it has been an absolute blessing, to say the least.
So, I mean, you're a lot of people can get intimidated by the Army because it's a heavy responsibility, as you know, and you've done some heavy stuff, but there's a lot of joy in your voice when you talk about it.
Oh,
you seem to really love what you're able to do. And there's a lot of people who, like you yourself, was it one of those things did you ever think about it before you talked to that recruiter, like when you were younger, or
to be completely honest, no. I'm a first-generation military. Nobody, no great-grandfathers, no nothing like that was in the military. So it was something that I hadn't even really considered beforehand. And to realize that this was such a wild opportunity that was just available for anyone who qualified was like a golden ticket for me. So, yeah, I had never actually considered it before I spoke to a recruiter.
So let's say right now there's somebody out there watching or will see this because it's going to be video and audio podcasted. We'll have it up. It'll run and run and run. Somebody's not sure. This is graduation time.
Very busy time for
high
us.
school graduates, college graduates, and there's someone who's still not quite sure what they want to do, or they have always had an interest in at least knowing a little bit more about serving our country, because that's what I look at it, whether it's the U.S. Army or anywhere else. What do you say to them?
As far as well, you're going to have to make a lot of big decisions, right? And a lot of those decisions are going to impact you for the rest of your life. Now, what I did was, when I made the decision to join the Army, there's been many times where I've considered getting out or thought about going down a different path. And the passion that I have for teaching, the passion that I have for coaching, and the passion that I have for the medical field has always kept me in. When I first joined, my two goals were to travel and get my education. And through the Army education system with AIT, with Advanced Individual Training, I got 60 credits right out of AIT. As a 19-year-old kid, I had my associates in clinical laboratory science, boom, right there. And I got stationed at Fort Hood. And as somebody who wanted to travel, I was a little on the fence about that one, but that allowed me to kind of focus on my education, So the Army has $4,000 of tuition assistance that you can use that's not your GI Bill. So I'd use that time to focus on my degree, finish my associates, and now moving towards my bachelor's. And the transition for my family was a lot easier because I was at Fort Hood. But I was able to go from there to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, and I lived in Europe for 3 years, So what I'm telling these guys is get out of your hometown. And when I tell these high school kids and I tell college kids that, they say, oh, yeah, I am. I'm going to go to Dallas or I'm going to go to Austin. I'm like, man, I've been to 15 countries. Go to Dublin. Go to Amsterdam. Go to Krakow, Poland. See how they're living and have a cold beverage of choice with them and talk about what their life is like. It'll open your mind like you've never imagined.
So 15 countries in 8 years. What's the one that you would want to go back to? What's the one that you maybe would put down on the list of if I had to?
Oh, hands down, I'm definitely going back to Ireland someday. That was an absolutely amazing experience. Of course, they all spoke English over there, which is, I don't know if you know, it's a big deal, And because when you're in Germany or you're in Poland and they're all speaking Polish and whatnot, it's hard to get around sometimes. But I'm definitely going back to Ireland. One that I might not go back to, and all these are beautiful countries. I just didn't get to experience Kosovo and Romania the way that I wanted to, because of the pandemic and because of what we were doing over there. But those would probably be on the other end of the list.
Well, Dracula's from Romania, so you got to be careful. Do you know that, Smokey?
Is he still alive?
I mean, he's undead.
Yeah, at night. Sergeant Clary, I have said this story many, many times. I did not serve. My father did. Paul's father did. He was in U.S. Army. My father was a Naval Academy graduate and then ended up in the Air Force for a long, long time. I would not be who I am as far as knowing more than I do or knowing what I do without the time I spent as a military brat. And every 3 or 4 years, we were somewhere. Including Japan for 4 years, 8th grade through junior year, and then back, or in Guam, or the constant different parts of the country that we were a part of. I can't explain, because there are some who've never left Waco, some who have never left McGregor, even though it's basically a part of Waco, or someone who's never left Dallas or Houston or whatever. And that alone, the experience of seeing how other people live and other cultures, and then realizing what you have, even though some of them are amazing cultures, to me was the most exciting part of being a military brat.
I would say that absolutely, yeah. Being able to leave and knowing how you grew up here in Texas, the values that we have, the morals that we have, you never lose that. You never lose home. You never lose who you are. And traveling and going and sitting and talking to these people and seeing how their life is and how the German government works, or how things work in the Netherlands, and those things are gonna really just expose you in a way. It's so hard to put it into words. I'm sorry, I'm really struggling here, but I'm telling you, it's something I'm so passionate about because of the feelings that it gets out of me. That feeling of, wow, I'm standing in a mountain in Switzerland, and this is the first time I've ever snowboarded. That was the moment for me where I realized I need to go into recruiting. Like, I need to tell people this story and give people these opportunities, because I can't even really put it into words sometimes.
So you mentioned Kosovo, you mentioned Germany, you mentioned Switzerland. Can you throw out 5 or 6 more countries? I mean...
Oh, yeah. Let's see if I can put me on the spot here. Spain, the Vatican City,
wow.
Poland, the Czech Republic, Ireland, the UK. Let's see here. Oh,
that's about 10 because of the other ones you mentioned right there.
I have a list that sometimes I forget where I've been.
No, that means you've been a lot of places as well.
I think a lot of soldiers probably feel that way, though. Like you say, have you been to Ireland? Have I? Yeah. It's a whirlwind existence, but you said that is the things you would get to learn. You would never get to learn in kind of, like you said, if you should go to, I'm going to school in Dallas. All right.
Hey, and
good luck.
Go have it. Yeah. I've been also the 15 states as well. Right. So, you do a lot of flying, and I was always told, hey, if the layover's long enough to have a cold beer, then you've been there. Yeah. And so I always count those states in there.
No question about it. Sergeant Clary with us again, U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company on SICM 365 Radio, medical lab specialist. And you were doing this, obviously you'd been doing it much before, 13 or 14 months ago when all hell broke loose with COVID, and you've been around the world as a part of that as well. I can't even imagine some of the stories, but just to see where we are now compared to where we were 13 to 15 months ago, are you happy? Are we good?
Yeah, absolutely. The progress that we've made is astounding. From the first phone call that I got there, I was working in operations at Regional Health Command Europe, and I was one of the few lab techs at the time that weren't stationed in a hospital. And I got the call of, hey, we need the lab techs out in the Baltics to do COVID response and testing. And I said, yeah, sure, send me out there, let's go. And they said, all right, pack a bag in a box, and, it'll be a couple of weeks. That's how it kind of goes, and it ended up being a couple of months. But, we fly into Romania, and I'm telling you, they gave me a BioFire, the machine that I ran all the COVID testing on, and they put me on a 4-seater airplane. And look, I don't like flying as much as the next guy. I've flown a lot, but I don't like it. And you ever flown on a plane that small?
Yeah.
Oh, I was getting ready to have that happen to me, I think. Oh, 4-seater. I've been in a 4-seater one time, yeah.
The pilots, they had a blast because every time there was, turbulence, I'm over here like, I'm holding on to the seat for dear life, and they're having a blast laughing at me and whatnot. But we get there, and the whole post, everywhere you go, is shut down. Obviously, they're quarantined, trying to keep everyone safe. And between me and the other lab tech there, between the 3 places we went and then the surveillance testing that we set up, we were able to test 2,000 people. That's Kosovars, that's Romanians, that's soldiers, civilians. And to be a part of the humanitarian operations that the Army gets involved in was something that I really didn't know that we did. A lot of people thought it's all combat, all things like that.
Right.
And it's sometimes it's the furthest thing from that.
So one of the things that you have when you join the United States Army, there's benefits and there's also incentives. You talked about the GI Bill, you talked about education and some of the money going towards a degree or whatever. What are some things right now that is there anything you would like to share or you can share for somebody that understands? First of all, the medical benefits among anything else, it's incredible. You're working for, Uncle Sam. You're a part of fighting for our country in many ways. Even if you're not fighting, you're still serving the country. And this got to be the most powerful thing possible.
Yeah, of course, the benefit of knowing that you're being a part of something bigger than yourself, right? That's, of course, one of the main things and the reason why people serve. And it was one of the reasons that got me to serve at a young age of 18. But now, I'm 27, and now I'm trying to look more into the future of how I'm going to retire, where I'm going to live. I used my VA loan to buy a house here in Waco, that I'll always have a piece of home with me that I own, But also, we've got coming up is National Hiring Days. It's going to be May 10th through June 14th. We have bonuses ranging from $2,000 to $40,000 for 11 primary MOSs are jobs that we're trying to push right now.
Right.
But, there are over 150 job opportunities and over 50 plus, medical opportunities that are there for, if you're wanting to get into the medical field as well. The insurance you talked about, 100% coverage. I mean, we got to make sure you can walk, run, and move and shoot and communicate, so we got to take care of you and your family as well, But I could talk for hours on that. I'm obviously a recruiter. I do it all day, but I love it every minute of it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between you're a recruiter who loves what you're talking about. Like what we love sometimes, there's not always a bunch of easy stories in sports these days, but we love discussing sports or whatever. And in your particular case, you can tell that you love it, no question. So how can someone get in touch with you?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different ways, right? Obviously, COVID has changed a lot of our ability to get into high schools, to get into colleges. So we do a lot of work on social media. You can follow me on social media on any of them, and at Waco_recruit. I'm on TikTok now. It's crazy. I never thought I would have downloaded.
Army is on TikTok.
I would have never. I
awesome.
never would have thought I would have downloaded TikTok. To be honest with you, I got Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all those. You can reach out to me on my personal cell phone as well. That's 254-227-0234. And you can reach out, text if you've got questions, or you can always come by the office at 5301 Bosque Boulevard. That's right next to the Target. So I always recommend go grab you a Starbucks, come on in and sit and chill and talk with us about your options.
Yeah, I'm telling you, you do a great job. Dominique is fantastic. Dominique Wilkins, Alfredo is unbelievable. He's the one that tried to get me up in the plane, and Mother Nature decided it was not worth it at that day. I'm so mad I missed that. I was ready. I was ready to go.
You sound beside yourself.
You don't see any airborne badges over here. I'm not jumping out of a plane for a reason as well. So.
Well, that guy that has his basically entire body strapped around mine with all the different bells and whistles that they have to make it safe I was looking forward to that. Alfredo Ferrer again, who's a part of it as well, and then again you and Dominique. Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary. Thank you, man. It's great to have you on. We appreciate it. Stay in touch. And if anyone calls or texts or you want to know some of the information that he just threw out, I wrote down the number. I have his number saved, and I can get in touch with any of those people I mentioned as well. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much. This has truly been a dream come true.
Oh, for us, the U.S. Army, my goodness, serving our country on something that's bigger than you as well. It's Staff Sergeant Courtney Clary of the U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company. Back with the 5 o'clock hour, SSG 365 Radio.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed.